Welcome to KimAppa. Jared and Robbie here with you again. I was going to say it's been a big week in cricket. It probably has not been a big week in
It's a
cricket.
small
It's
week.
actually, it's maybe the tiniest week in cricket that we have covered in our podcast together. And so I don't have like a huge amount to talk about, Robbie, but there is some stuff about the IPL that I thought was quite interesting. You and I, when we saw the Luhandre Pretorius, to mispronounce it, but try my best. When he was signed for Rajasthan, we both went, well, that's got to be the end of Sanju Samson, yeah, because he
Yeah,
doesn't fit in that side anymore. And I can't remember
yeah,
who it was. It was a former player this week who said, "Oh, Sanju Samson doesn't want to play under Rian Parag, and that's why he's asking to move." And I'm like, it's probably because he's seen the top order is pretty set, and he's not sure where he's going to fit in this anymore, right? Like for me, it seems a lot more like less like a leadership thing and more like a batting thing of where's he going to bat in this lineup?
for certain. I think it's has to do with that, and perhaps one or two more things. I think as a leader, as a captain, perhaps the ideas are not matching with the rest of the leadership group. It could also perhaps be that. I have a feeling probably that also had something to do with his decision, and this probably was an ongoing thing. And to be very honest, the kind of spot that he's going to be batting at would be below number 3. And if you're opening the batting for India in T20I cricket, and if you're batting in number 3 or 4 in franchise cricket, it's not going to augur well for you, because Sanju, like let's call it as it is, right? Sanju's international outings have been either hot or cold, right? It's been all or nothing, right? And with the kind of performances that the rest of the openers are putting up, and now that Shubman Gill's also captain of the Test side, it'll be, and with Rohit and Virat gone, there will that spot is up for grabs, and I think the preference of say a Yashasvi Jaiswal or a or a Shubman Gill is going to be a little bit more at this point in time. Also, because obviously power, right? A little bit that's gonna be at play here.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a really interesting one going ahead because is the IPL more important than the Indian side for you financially in the next 5 to 10 years? What's more important? That's my question to you. Not to you
Cricket's
personally.
I think I think cricket's cricket, but I think till the millennials, I think they value Indian cricket a lot more. I think the majority of the Gen Zs perhaps think of it quite differently, and there's nothing wrong with it, right? It's the cricket they watched up growing, and it's the cricket that they aspire to play, right? So for them, it's not wrong that they believe that franchise cricket is more important than international cricket, and if that's what they think, it's fair. But and is cricket evolving in that direction? It absolutely is. It's going to happen sooner or later, where someone's going to take a call where franchise cricket is going to be placed ahead of international cricket simply because it pays more. Because this is how all the athletes put food on the table. So it's going to happen at some point. So it's worth
But
discussing now.
yeah. So, but my question is, let's think about this. Financially for a minute, right? If he's got the Indian opening spot, both of us think that by the time the World Cup comes around, he may not be there. But at the moment, he's been in that position. As you say, he's hot and cold. If he is seen to be moved or demoted by his team, right? Traditionally in cricket, the way that has worked, like if you go back through, there's many different situations like this where a player has been dropped or moved in position in their first class team, and the international team gets a bit shook by that and they change their mind. He kind of has to stay at least in the top 3 and probably opening, right, in order for India to feel massively confident in him.
They have to, because right now with RR, they have both Yashasvi, who's done really well for them, and then Suryavanshi has absolutely smacked it out of the park. And Riyan Parag likes to bat at number 3. So where does that leave Sanju Samson? A number 4 spot. Does he want to bat at number 4? Would I want to bat at number 4 when I'm opening for India? Absolutely not. And from his perspective, he probably sees that, he probably felt that perhaps that won't change at RR, and they will continue to back, and they back their youngsters quite a bit, don't they? And that's been the culture there in RR. So he probably sees it as the writing on the wall, perhaps, and so perhaps he's trying to get ahead of the curve a little bit and say, okay, let me move now so that I can go somewhere else and open the batting and still vie for that position at the top of the order in the Indian team. Probably that's perhaps a small reasoning as well.
Yeah, I just think the whole thing's fascinating because you and I both know that money obviously dictates a lot of this, but the money isn't really the issue for him here, right? It's
No.
it's almost thinking about your next contract is more important. Because if he's already being sidelined here and he loses his spot in India, the next IPL contract won't be as big either, right? Like, what would he be on? Would he be on a 2-year? He would have been on last year and this year.
A 3-year
He wouldn't be on the.
contract.
He'd be on a 3-year contract. Okay, so if he plays one more year as second fiddle guy here and down the order, not in his main position, and he gets dropped by India, that means when he's getting to the end of that 3rd year, he's not as valuable in a trade, and he might not be able to pick up a big contract on the back end of it anyway.
Not necessarily. Actually, I think with the IPL, at least the feel is what can the player deliver for you as in a team environment, right? And I think the value that he brings to any team is immense. So I think the fact that he as far as earning not as much money, I don't think that will happen just yet. He'll have to probably have maybe two bad seasons before something like that actually happens, right? And it's very important how that last year before the big auction goes, right? That's when everyone's like, okay, you really need to stack up good performances because the next one's the big auction, and you want to be able to augur for a good prize at the big auctions. The big auctions are the ones that are most important, Jair. So the year preceding the big auctions is the one that's most important, that everyone kind of pays attention to.
But the problem is for him, he's 30 now, so he's going to be coming off contract at 32. If he's not a major player in the, I'm talking about this from his perspective. If he sits at RR and he bats at 4 or 5, right? Probably 4, right?
4.
If he bats at 4 and he's 31, 32, and he has fine numbers for a number 4, but it's the top order that's doing all the mess with Jaiswal and Suryavanshi, and let's assume Luhan is going to be playing there. You've got Riyan Parag as well. There's a lot of players stacking up there. He might not get the numbers. That's when you get to that 32, 33 age, that's when you start to get paid completely on your performance and not on potential and not on everything else. So it's a weird period of time for him to be not a major player. So like I can understand why he's asking for a trade or asking for other options to be looked at. And we're just going on speculation here, but it's looking more and more likely like he's not going to be there next year, yeah?
No, it doesn't seem like it. Perhaps not. I have a feeling even if he is there and you'll see him batting down the order, I don't think you'll see him opening the batting. And would he want to do that, or would that be prudent to do when you have currently the opening spot in the Indian team? I don't think it's going to be prudent, especially in Indian cricket. You want to keep scoring and stacking runs up there because the competition for the top order is hectic in white ball cricket. So you want to make sure that you give yourself the best chance to score as many runs as possible so that you can continue to be in the mix as far as international cricket is concerned.
Can I ask you about off the field? So he's currently the opener in the Indian side, and he works for Rajasthan. Let's say he goes to CSK next, wherever that may be. How much do you lose from advertising and brand sponsorships and everything when you're not in the Indian team and you take that step down? Like, is it a big, is it from a financial thing, is it a big hit to not be in the Indian team anymore? Or for a player like Sanju, who's a little bit more fringe, it may not matter as much?
Yeah, I think it won't matter that much. I don't think that will have a huge impact. I certainly think that him moving and not having good performances will have more of an impact on his earning potential, so to speak. Outside of the earning potential, I honestly think that Sanju as a player is at this juncture in his life right now where he has to make every performance count. He has to commit to cricket like he committed to cricket when he was 17 or 18 years old, and really work hard, go through everything, like as far as practice is concerned, training is concerned, work ethic is concerned, like he did as an 18-year-old, so that he gives himself the best to get the best out of himself. And if he's able to do that, I have no doubt of his potential and what he'll be able to do. I think he's a match winner. He can win matches single-handedly. Um, but yeah, as in I think it's something that you know he will have to figure out. I also think the leadership thing. I think he wants to continue to lead at the IPL level. So I think anyone who's having a conversation with him is also going to be having a conversation about him leading any other franchises he goes to as well, or being in the line to lead.
Okay, most obvious one, I think someone might have even put this in the comments, is that he just goes to CSK, right? Which gives them a lot of flexibility in their side. Is that what you're looking for?
CSK for sure. They would Brevis in the middle order, Gaikwad, Matre. Their batting lineup looks good. If they're able to get him, if they're able to snap him up, then yeah, it'll do really well for him. And then I think the transition of MS to the next wicketkeeper you already have in Sanju. So that's already taken care of. Otherwise, they would have to look at, say, at this point, they would have to look at Devin Conway as a wicket-keeping option. But if he comes on board, then there's a lot of good that can happen for CSK. Where do you see any other franchises happening for him?
I think that's the one that makes the most sense at the moment, right? Like if you
where is Ishan
Kishan
playing?
Ishan Kishan is Sunrisers, isn't he?
He's Sunrisers. The Mumbai Indians could be interested. He could be in the mix for Mumbai Indians because they struggled with the wicketkeeper, didn't they?
Where are we? Mumbai Indians squad.
Mumbai Indians have the South African wicketkeeper back the opening.
Yeah, and they've got Robin Mins, who we all expected to break out last year and didn't. So yeah. I suppose it depends on how much you read him.
Robin is a really good cricketer, and I think he's got serious potential. But if you had to pick between Robin and Sanju, you'll always look at a Sanju, right? Because even it's also about conditions and how well you can play in different conditions. And 7 out of the 14 games you're going to be playing in Mumbai, so they could be in the run for this stuff. What about KKR? Could KKR be in the mix? KKR, I think, as well. KKR as well, right? They have Gurbaz.
So they had Gurbaz, and who's the other? Did they have De Kock? So De Kock,
yeah.
Is he gone? Or certainly he's on the outside now, isn't he? They dropped him in the middle of last year. So so they need, I suppose, an Indian wicketkeeper.
Weren't they looking for a captain? They wanted to get someone, right? They were looking for a captain as well.
Well, they had 2 captains last year, but it didn't seem to work particularly well for them. Yeah, okay. Because I
have a feeling they might trade. Sorry, go for it.
No,
you were thinking.
No, you go. I mean, I was thinking that if you are Rajasthan, what do you need? Because that's the other question here, right? If you're going to get rid of Samson, what do you need? And if you look at their lineup at the moment, they don't actually have a frontline Indian spinner in their side, right? They've got a bunch of seam bowlers everywhere, and they've got Hasaranga, who I think is still on their books, right? But they don't have a frontline spinner. So there is an opportunity to probably take one young player and Ashwin for Samson.
100%.
So there's a direct trade there. So I'd have to go through all the other teams to see if there's a direct trade. This is, if this was the NBA, we'd have like trade calculators and and everything else. I don't know if anyone's made one of those. Years. No, someone's going to make it for us very, very soon because now we're moaning about it. But I think if you look at it from that perspective, that makes sense. I think you're right. There are probably 3 teams that make sense for Samson, and there are probably 2 to 3 teams that make sense for Ashwin. I don't know if he's going to play any. I think Ashwin wants to play every game next year. I'm not sure there's a team he plays every game for.
And rightfully so, yeah. At 37, you want to play 37, 38, you want to play as many games as possible. There's probably only that much left in the tank, and then if you're not
playing the opposite. Or you just want to play like 4 and 5, hang out a little bit, work on your YouTube channel. I don't know. Depends on how you look at these things. No, I get what you mean. Like if you're going to play, you want to be available for all. Also, Ashwin's not a role player, right? And we just saw him in the test team do a similar thing where he's like, if you're not going to pick me for the next 8 months, I'm not going to hang around and make sure that I'm available. So it's possible he's doing the same thing. So both of these guys have lots of options. But if you were Chennai and you want to go for him, if you give if you give Ashwin up, you probably have to give one other player off your list. Would be my guess. That might be where it gets a little bit tricky. But maybe there's an overseas player that could help Rajasthan. I'm just having a look here if there's anyone.
No.
Rajasthan doesn't really need Devon Conway, do they?
No. You don't need an opener. There are too many openers. If there are any youngsters listening in India, guys, middle order finishers. That is what India needs. Forget opening the batting. Finish matches at the death. That is the spot that is openly available in Indian cricket at the moment.
All right. Can I give you an interesting one for? Okay, Ashwin and Ravindra for Samson.
Rachin Ravindra, again, opener, bro. Like, why will they go for an opener when you have Yashasvi and you have Suryavanshi?
I think he can bat anywhere, though. I don't think he's an opener.
And you think, like, see, Riyan Parag is going to give himself a chance because he also wants to play international cricket. So I think he's going to give himself a chance to.
He's going to bat four.
Bat at number 3. 3 or 4. 3, I think, mostly. He's also a solid bat. So you want your best batters to bat for as long as possible. What they don't have is. They only have Shemrin Hetmeyer there at number 6. They don't have a finisher there at number 6 or 7. So you want a solid finisher.
I'm not sure that they have a backup finisher that they can offer.
They don't have
I'm saying for Chennai. I'm not sure they have anyone that they can offer. Where does Urvil Patel play? Isn't he one of your boys?
Urvil, I think, also is a top order bat. Is an opener or number 3.
You got someone like Vijay Shankar. What about Sam Curran?
Maybe Sam Curran, yeah.
That might break CSK's heart, but there's an argument there, isn't there? But I mean, Sam Curran isn't going to play that much for CSK next year, I don't think, is he?
Who did you name before Sam?
Urvil.
Vijay Shankar.
Vijay Shankar, yeah.
Yeah, he could be one. He could be one that goes with Ashwin as well. That could happen.
How much cricket has he played?
He's playing cricket. He's been playing cricket.
No. I mean in the IPL. Okay, his numbers are okay last year.
He's played quite a bit.
I can see that. He doesn't bowl much, does he? In the IPL, doesn't bowl at all. So you're only
they haven't utilized him. He's actually
Yeah.
a pretty decent bowler, but I think he's been underutilized as a bowler.
To be honest, in this new system with the extra bowlers and the subs, I'm not sure that you actually need his bowling that much anyway. But maybe it's in case of emergency type thing. So if you set Ashwin and Vijay Shankar for Samson, are you happy if you're Rajasthan?
Ashwin and Vijay Shankar, yeah, for Sanju. Yeah, I think perhaps Rajasthan also feel like Sanju doesn't want to be here anymore. So if a player doesn't want. If your player doesn't want to be here, then why do we have to keep him? So, maybe give him what he wants. So I think that in that sense, I think it makes sense for them. So they'll be happy to let him go if they get 2 decent players. And Ashwin's more than decent. He's a solid. He'll make sure at least that even if he doesn't get wickets, he keeps it economical. Vijay Shankar could be the other finisher that they could go for. That's my thinking. They need a finisher. Whether it's Indian or foreign, they need a finisher.
I think considering... How old would Vijay be? He'd be about 28, 29 as well?
Vijay about 30...
he's a bit older, yeah. No, he's about 34. So that's my only issue with that trade is you're taking away a player who's 30, who's a captain, who's a wicketkeeper, who's Indian, who's a top order player, and you're getting back 2 older guys. I wonder if I am Rajasthan, I'm like, can we not get one of your maybe Andre Siddharth, someone like that? Someone with some. Order. Yeah, I suppose I don't need that, do they? But someone with a bit more upside. What's Ghosh like? Ramakrishna Ghosh.
Not much of an idea.
No. Anyway, it's an interesting one, and this is the kind of thing that we have to. I mean. As you said before, in 20 years, hopefully we're there in 2 or 3 years' time. Yeah. But this is the kind of thing that I think can really help the IPL because at the moment, you get the aggregator sites talking about it a little bit. And obviously, you've got a couple of the YouTubers, ourselves included, talking about it. But it's not something that's really in the mainstream of cricket discourse at the moment. Whereas getting that out there, and part of the reason is, Robbie, can I be candid here?
Yeah.
The trades in the IPL have been absolutely shithouse so far. Right, there have been so many bad trades, and it's not just the IPL. do you my favorite trade ever? And there are still people in Hobart who won't talk to me about this. Do you remember Ben Dunk?
Yeah.
Ben Dunk scored, I think he was the MVP one season, and 2 years later he was traded for a guy who was 30 years old who played two Big Bash games, right? And I think maybe he played two after that. And I was like, well, how can you have a guy who was an MVP in the league be traded for literally not like a list filling player, right? It doesn't make any sense at all. I've seen it in the PSL before as well, but some of the ones in the IPL were Mumbai just buys players. They're not even trades and they call them trades. It's because the idea of a trade, especially in a league like the IPL, is it's not just about you're not going to use this player anymore and you want to get some resources back for them. I understand that. But you also have to weaken the opposition, right?
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to play them. You can sometimes be dodgy in European football and in other sports, right? Where maybe in American sports where you have divisions and you're like, it doesn't really matter if we weaken them because the only time we're going to play that team is if they get to the finals, right? So we don't need to worry about that. In the IPL, if you just make Mumbai better, right, or you just make CSK better, you have to play them a couple of times a year and then probably once in the playoffs as well. It doesn't make any sense to you to make that other team better and for you to get $200,000 towards your analytics department. I'm looking at you, RCB, a couple of years ago on that one. It's ridiculous. Trades are not just zero-sum games. So when I was talking about before of if you get Ashwin and you get Vijay Shankar, you've got two of your needs are met, but you also maybe want to just take one of the fringe young players and take a flyer on them because maybe they become a good role player for you or a good squad member for you, even if they don't become a star in the future. I think that's the way that teams have to think about it. But because we don't have trading culture in cricket, it's dreadful. You look at T20 trades and you're like, have you guys never watched sport before?
But it's also because now there's limitation on players, right? And there's so many injuries that happen. You only have 8 foreign players coming in the IPL. So for them to exercise what you're saying right now is not the easiest thing to do. They have to have all their pieces in place and a replacement for each of those pieces in place in the first 22 players, right? If they have that, then with the next 3, then they can afford to do that. But if they don't have that, it's quite challenging.
No, I think what you're saying is something different. What you're saying is if a team is completely whole, that's when they make changes. Whereas if you look at how trades work in other sports, you might look at places where you have a natural overlap anyway. So the reason that Samson can be traded, and we both thought he was going to be traded whether Rajasthan wanted to trade him or not, right?
Yeah.
The reason, but Rajasthan can trade him is they have a natural overlap in those top 4, top 5 positions, right? Where it doesn't matter. And also, he doesn't fit the age timeline of all those other guys, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So but when you trade him away, it can't just be you're getting rid of him without adding to your squad. And I think that's the really important thing. I do think you're right with squad sizes. The other problem that we have in cricket is because we don't have proper draft capital, right? You can't actually, let's say you're a team who isn't going to make the playoffs next year and you've got a 29-year-old in the peak of his game who isn't going to get you to the playoffs on his own. You really want to trade him for 2 or 3 younger prospects, right? Most teams aren't going to give up 2 or 3 younger prospects that they already know and have been developing. What they might give up is 2 or 3 draft prospects that are random and they don't even know who those players are going to be. So there is an element of being able to do that. So there are reasons why it happens, but it still needs to be a lot better than I think it is at the moment. And as you said, it is about, this is not a maturing league. I think, do you want my full plan? Right?
Yeah.
Which will never happen.
Yeah.
You get rid of the auction completely, so that won't happen.
About freaking time.
Yeah, and you have a new players draft, and you have players who've played, let's say, less than 40 games draft, right? So you have the chance to have the 18-year-old getting picked up by a franchise, and we all get excited about the next big thing. But you also get the chance to get a 24-year-old who's maybe played 12 games and scattered around, but you know is going to fit in your side. And then for any players who've played over 40 games of IPL cricket or over 7 years, whatever mark you want to give that, you have free agency. That allows you to have 2 drafts, right, where you have maximum TV exposure available for both of those drafts. And also, people can talk about free agency all the way through the year because you're going to be signing players here and there when you get a chance. It also allows a player like Sanju Samson to maybe take a smaller contract now to get a bigger contract in the future and everything else. And he doesn't. Sanju Samson is what, 10 years into the IPL? He's captained.
Much longer.
Is
He
it longer?
came in at
Yeah.
17.
Right. So he's
18.
played for 13 years. Doesn't he get to pick where his final couple of contracts are rather than going into an auction, getting picked for a side who maybe doesn't even need him correctly and doesn't want to use him? Do you know what I mean? Like, I think you senior players have earned the right to choose where they go.
See, and that's what I've always said, right? When it comes to the IPL, that's one of my. It's been one of my issues with the auctions, and I think doing away with the auctions and saying, okay, we're not going to do auctions anymore, for humanitarian reasons and for cricketing reasons as well, right? Can you believe we're in this time in the world where we exist, and we're still selling people like cattle on international television, no less. Right, and all of those are highly sponsored events, right? And I think there has to be a modicum of decency there with that, and I think the draft will bring that in. And a couple of drafts like this, where under 40 matches, whether you've played the IPL or not, you can have a separate draft for that for sure, and have a separate draft for the players who've played. And the guys who've played over 10 years in the IPL deserve to have free agency. It's absolutely right. That'd be fantastic if they decide to do that, if the IPL decide to do that. It'll be a step forward in cricket. Genuinely, it'll be a step forward in Indian cricket.
No, I agree. I think this is where the players need a union, because the players don't have a collective voice at the moment.
Good luck making that happen in India.
Well, it's not going to happen. But I'm saying the reason that American sports have that and Australian sports, so those are two sports that have those kinds of conditions, is because they have collective unions, right? And so they actually end up, working as a team. There are problems within sports unions as well. Like if you look at baseball, the way that young players never get paid any money and old players get paid like way too much money. Like, I'm not saying that union is a perfect thing, but that is how you make that change. Do you think, though, that the auction is untouchable? That's my question for you. Is the auction untouchable? Because I think a couple of years ago, every time I brought this up, people got quite upset. And now people are like, yeah, maybe it is time to move on.
You've got to be progressive with your thinking. As in, I think, especially the IPL being the biggest tournament in the world as far as franchise cricket is concerned, you have to be progressive in your thinking. You can't be. This is actually a little regressive, to be very honest, because the auction is no one's really nailed the science of an auction. Nobody has. It's been 16 years of this, right? And no one's nailed the science to it. And you're telling me in India, with the with how we work cerebrally, you're telling me we haven't been able to nail the auction? It's because it's probably impossible. The dynamics of it is so strange, and your whole worth as a cricketer, as an athlete, is deemed on how much you earn. So if you come, say, a little late in the auction, or if you come after the money has been spent on A, B, C particular player, then you're deemed as, oh, you're only worth that much. And that sticks, right? And I'm telling you, it's agonizing to be a part of the auction. It's so nerve-wracking. I feel like I feel like when I was in school, man, like, when you write your examinations and you've for whatever reason, you've not had the time to study, or you've not done really well, and you're just hoping you've passed, and you're like, the day of the results come out, and then you're like, they're biting your nails off, you're jittery, you're just complete anxiety. It's just 2 days of intense anxiousness here, because this is what helps us, the Indian cricketers, put food on the table for a lot of them, right? And it's nerve-wracking, to be very honest, and I really hope from a mental health perspective even that they actually move away from it.
Yeah, I think the whole thing's quite interesting going ahead. It's also, you look at people like Tamal Mills and Tyrone Henderson and all these different players who are overpaid at certain auctions because two teams end up with too much money and they're both desperate with one player. And it's like, that player can't actually live up to that amount of money anyway. And so, in Tamal Mills' case, he was kind of overpaid once and it ruined his potential to ever come back as a role player, which is probably what he was best suited to be, right? Like he was overpaid in the first place. Whereas if you're a little bit too high in the draft, unless you're the number one pick, and let's be honest, there's been some weird number one picks in T20 drafts around the world. Lendl Simmons went number one in the CPL one year. That was an odd decision. I say that because that was the year I worked with the team who actually picked him. But you look at these sorts of things and you're like, I think you're right. I don't think people have nailed it. I think it was a really good idea when they started because it was something new and it was something different.
It needed it when you started to bring in the attention and the eyeballs.
Yeah.
You didn't need it after year 3, 4, maybe even 5. You absolutely didn't need it after year 5.
Yeah.
You know,
So
you wanted the
so
first couple of things to be auctions, and then you want to be the league that leads progressive thinking within the game, right? And unfortunately, that's one place where the IPL has fallen short. But you know who has nailed the science of the auctions? It's the foreigners. It's the
Yeah.
foreign players. They
Well,
they never put their names up in the big auctions. They wait for
it's
the
the
big
foreign
auction to get
agents.
one. And then they throw their names into the small auctions, and that's where they make the big bucks. So it's an exciting year. This year is going to be an exciting year for the foreign players because this is their chance to make some of the big bucks.
Yeah, and that system, I know that annoys a lot of Indian players and everything, the way that the foreign players do that and everything. But again, that's because the auction exists. If it comes back to a draft, the players wouldn't be able to game that system. So,
yeah,
there is a way of fixing that.
You wouldn't have to come up with rules such as, oh, if you turn up for the auction and don't play, then you get paid. You don't get you get banned for 2 years. And if you only turn up, you're not allowed to come for the mini auction if you've not turned up for the mega auction. All of that stuff is there, right? There are some rules now that they've come up in the IPL. Like I'm so done with the whole auction bit that I completely switch off because it's been so stressful for me while I've played it. For example, my last season for CSK, right? In the preceding season, I didn't play 12 matches. I played the last 4, and I got traded from Rajasthan to CSK, and I was earning 3 crores at that point in time. And then I played CSK at 3 crores that year. We won the championship. So I was very certain that at least based on the performances in the knockout, I would get at least in the 4, 5, 6 range, right? I thought I'll go at that price. And I came early in the auction as well. I went at base price, man, at 2 crores. And we were just pregnant with our second child at that point in time. And suddenly I have to rework everything financially, right? Because there's taxes that are involved and all of that, all of those aspects. And then it actually hits an existential side of you, which can be really stressful. And you have to wonder, you're living a certain quality of a lifestyle. You have a baby coming in. You want to maintain the lifestyle a little bit as well. And you're trying to make everything work. And you think something is going to work. It's not going to. It's so strange, the auction, that you honestly don't know how it's going to go. And for me, that's one of the reasons even before that, I remember when I had good seasons with KKR and the auction was coming about because I didn't get retained. I went back in the auction. I was like a nervous Nelly, bro. I was like, my sheets was like, don't worry, everything is going to be okay. I'm like, no, dude, like this is scary. It's proper scary. It was proper scary experiences for me.
Well, so you look at your big year is when Pune take you from RCB. Were you already clear of RCB at that stage, or was that mega auction? 2011.
That was mega auction.
So you get a big year there, but then your form never hits at the right time for you to get a big year, right? Whereas other players.
But it was because Pune as a team didn't do well. We came 9th and 10th the 3 years that it existed, and I was the top scorer for Pune through those 3 years. And I got about 1,300 runs, I think. I was even in the top 5 run getters in the IPL. But because the team did so badly, I didn't make those big bucks anymore after that. Because I went to KKR at 5. After my big year, to be very honest, after we won the IPL and I got the orange cap, I actually wanted to be released. And I want to go back into the auctions. To be very honest, because I want to maximize the opportunity to earn more. Because how much longer you're going to play? You're going to play till you're 35, 36, and I was already 29 by then. So I want to maximize my earnings, right? And I went and had a conversation with the leadership group at KKR, and they said, "See, we will not let you go. We want you to play for us, and we want you to play for a long time." And then I had a conversation with them, and there was no way I could earn much more than 5 crores based on the contract at that point in time. So I was like, okay, I'll let it go. And I said, okay, but I just wanted to try. It was worth having a conversation, so I tried at that point in time.
Can I ask you a batting question?
Always. even when I'm sleeping.
Well, I do ask them when you're sleeping, but you're such a pretty sleeper. I don't like to wake you. Marnus Labuschagne is a number 3 who stopped making runs. He's now said that he wants to. Well, he now realizes he's going to have to play as an opener because it looks like they're going to continue with Cameron Green at number 3, whatever some of us might think of that. Do you need to change anything to be able to go from opener to, from number 3 to opener? Or is it, because his game seems to me like it's kind of opener adjacent anyway, right? Like it's not that different to an opener. Does he have to do anything different, do you think?
Not necessarily with the technique, but I think with the mindset, there has to be a little bit of a shift. When you're opening the batting, you have to, your preparation changes a lot. And if you've prepared in a certain way, there's a certain preparation that's worked for you as a number 3 batter. You have to get into that headspace, those routines, and it shouldn't feel foreign, especially when you're playing cricket at the highest level. It should feel like, okay, this is my routine. You need to own it. So, and then it needs to make you feel really prepared by the time you get into a test match, right? So you need to feel like, okay, my routine's in place, and you can't go through a process of discovery at that point in time. So you want to have all of those things down pat. And I think as far as technique or batsmanship is concerned, I reckon as opening batters, for me, batting comes down to this one foundational piece: how early you get ready at the point of release, right? At the point of release, are your eyes still and are you ready to go? That is critical as far as batting is concerned, irrespective of what your technique is, right? And when you're opening the batting, you rather be early than late. So even if you're a touch earlier, it's fine. But you don't want to be late, because that new ball in any conditions can catch you by surprise. So that's an aspect that he'll probably have to work on as an opening batter if he is going to open the batting compared to number 3. And walking in, and the thing is with the mindset side of it, as an opening batter, you have to go there and create a situation, right? It's a blank slate. But at number 3 even, you're going into a situation. The stage is already set for you. Yeah, you have to go there and create a situation. You have to create that stage upon which everybody else can perform on, right? I think that's the mindset change that he will also have to accommodate for in his mental preparation. What kind of a foundation does he want to build at the top of the order for Australia? I think those are the shifts and changes that he'll have to make from a top order batter to an opening batter.
So I was thinking about this. We've had lots of people who've obviously changed. Sehwag becomes an opener. I suppose you could throw David Warner in there as well. Rohit obviously has done it. There's many players who've done it. Quite often, though, it's when your team has too many middle order players, and so everyone's in form, and you have to find a spot, right? Like, and sometimes you see the opposite. Mike Hussey becomes a number 4, number 5. In the opposite of that, because he was an opener and there wasn't any position.
Justin Langer.
Yeah, so Justin Langer he was a number 3. No, he was a number 3. Well, he batted at 6 only because that's where Australia started people. But he was a 3 who moved up. I think Langer is a good example of someone like Marnus. The difference is, I think when Langer was picked, he was picked when he was in form. And so this is the issue that Australia has now, because their batting is so bad. I think they might be in the middle of a collapse in a T20 game while we're talking about it as well. But because their batting is so bad now, bowled out for 165 in that other game, you're picking guys who are out of form and asking them to do new jobs at the same time. Like, the chances are Marnus will fail, but it's not as if there are, we're talking about people like Jake Weatherald and McSweeney and these sorts of people. They're not like banging the door down on the outside. They're going with their most talented players, but if no one's in form and no one's making any runs, it's like probably most of these guys are going to fail.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. But I think with Marnus as well, and I don't know him very well. I know him just a little bit, especially I think early on in his career, I was in touch with him for a little while. But it seems
he should be on the podcast. If we have a third person, I'd bring Marnus on because he might be. I think he's probably as big a cricket nerd as you or me. I think
wouldn't say I'm a cricket nerd.
You're definitely a cricket nerd. Who do you think you're trying to fool here, Robbie? You're definitely a cricket nerd.
Okay, I'll take that. But I think Manas's personality has changed quite a bit from when he started. And I think there was a sense of hunger about his batting, about him as a person, as an athlete that existed that I don't necessarily see today. I may be absolutely off the mark here. It just feels like there's a sense of arrogance when in just his existence in that sense. I could be off the mark here completely. I could be completely off, but there's something that seems different about Manas. Have you noticed that from when he started to now?
I think when he started, so you know he didn't make many runs when he was 25-year-old, 26-year-old, right? He then gets into a purple patch of which most people have never ever gotten into before. You know, that sort of like we just saw with Karen Nair, right? And that transfers into Test cricket. Yeah. Then I think what has happened with Marnus is that people worked out how to bowl to him, and they bowl wider of off stump now, and they keep it out there a little bit like what happened to Virat. And he doesn't have a game at the moment to be able to counter that, and so he's lost belief in what Marnus is, right? Because I think Marnus was becoming this big star, and now he's lost belief. I don't think he's a very naturally confident person. I think he has more insecurities than other people, and maybe there was a period where he was masking that a little bit.
Perhaps, yeah. And in fact, he seems a lot more busier right now as a cricketer than he did when he came in. He seemed so calm when he came into the scene. When you saw him, you felt a sense of calm and a sense of assuredness as a batter, and as a batter, as a viewer of the game. You felt a sense of calm when Manas came onto bat. You don't necessarily feel that right now. He seems a little fidgety for some reason, and he wasn't before. Or was it just the purple patch? I'm not sure. These are just my observations. I could be again off the mark here, but I just feel like he seems a lot more fidgety now than he used to be.
Or I think it's really interesting that him and Babar Azam both came in during the wobble ball era and did really, really well when people were bowling probably at middle and off stump to them, right? And then people have gone off outside. I think you're right. He's fidgety. I don't think he knows what to do with that. He wants to leave them, right? But he's not really a player he's not going to be a Dom Sibley type player, is he? Where he's just going to sit there, or Pujara, where he's going to sit there with his bat up for like an hour until you start bowling to him again. And so I think he's just unsure of what his method is of scoring runs in Test cricket as it currently stands.
Yeah. Perhaps even I don't know, this whole fascination with Steve Smith. Initially in his career, where he would imitate him and follow his every move and tick, right? But that's who Steve is. Smudge is someone who's fidgety and that's what works for him. And I think for a while it felt like he was mirroring Steve a lot. But I don't know if that is naturally him, and these are all just observations. I think there's something that's worked for Manas in the past. I don't know if he'll go back to that, and if you're ever listening to this, it's food for thought.
Yep. Robbie is already offering you a spot on the podcast as well. Can I ask you a question about T20 cricket? I've been thinking
Why are you being so formal and nice? Just ask, man. When did you learn manners? Be the Aussie that you are.
I'm not being formal and nice. That's just a way of segueing so that the producers can understand we're changing topics. If you had a T20 side now, right, from scratch, you have no idea who the players are, you have no idea what the league is or whatever, but you're running a T20 team tomorrow. Are you more likely to have 7 specialist batters with one of them who can bowl, maybe one or two of them that can bowl and get you to your 5th overs, and 4 really, really good bowlers? Or are you more likely to try and have some sort of mishmash of all-rounders at 6, 7, and 8 that gives you flexibility and everything else? Because I don't know if you've seen, the South African team has sort of changed that because they were always all about the specialists, right? They were basically punting their number 7 position for the last 2 or 3 years and doing quite well at times with that. You know, they made it, should have won a T20 World Cup with it.
World Cup.
They made those semi-finals of a World Cup where they didn't go that far away from beating Australia either. They played some really good cricket. But the new coaches come in and they've decided to head toward those all-rounders. I just wondered what you think is the sort of the more stable option.
Again, first a question: Are we talking impact player? No impact player.
No impact player. Forget the IPL.
Okay. I would have 7 batters, but one who could bowl a little bit as well.
So you're not too. Are you? What are we talking about there? Are we talking about Maxwell level bowling? Are you happy enough with that? Jadeja's. That's a bit better than someone who can bowl a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, Jadeja level.
What I want is a world-class all-rounder at number 7. Let's imagine Jadeja doesn't exist.
Okay.
Washington, Maxwell, Stoinis,
yeah, for sure.
Our man George Lindy, who's back.
Oh man, that guy is so good. I'm just surprised how no IPL team went after him. Did he come in as a replacement? I was like, this guy should be playing cricket, franchise cricket, all over the world. He is so good.
I don't think he played today, did he? I don't think he played in that game today. Oh, they might have picked...
They also have that rule of playing certain number of coloured players as well, right?
Let's have a look. Yeah, it might have been the case. I thought he was going to play though, but they also didn't play. They also didn't pick some of the other non-white players. So it might just have been that they wanted a wrist spinner and a bunch of quicks today. By the look at their lineup, actually, which is.
But also that's also been an existential problem with South Africa, right? South Africa, they have to play certain number of coloured players in every game, right?
7. Well, they've got Bosch at 7. So they've got Bosch in the Lindy.
Yeah, I'd have a player like Bosch at number 7. He can bat and bowl a little bit.
Yeah, but I'm saying so that means that maybe it was just out of him and Lindy, and if you think it's going to be better for seam bowlers, you pick the quick, right, in that situation, which I think is absolutely fine just going through this. In fact, he took 3 for as well. I just think that it's really interesting seeing that. I would have, if you go back to the history of cricket, it's really interesting of watching it all the way through ODI cricket and change. So West Indies, their big thing was, I think it was the 79 World Cup when Viv Richards is batting with, is it Collis King who makes all the runs in that game? And they basically go, this is,
You're calling me the nerd. Like I know this stuff.
It's a very important innings. You would love this innings. Essentially, he sits there and goes, he says to Viv Richards, and I love that he says this to Viv. He goes, if this was league cricket, we would smash this guy. Right? And I think maybe it's like a couple of all-rounders are bowling. Like it's not a very strong bowling attack for the 5th bowler. And they just massacre that. And so you get periods of time where you get that sort of Scott Styris type bowler, that Darren Lehman type bowler, right? Where people don't try and hit them. And so you can get away with that kind of bowler at that time, right? And there are other periods of time where you can't get away with that. And I wonder I think South Africa maybe have played this right, that, for a long period of time, they thought to themselves, where we don't actually need to go after, people aren't going to go after our 5th bowler as much. Whereas now, maybe we're in an era again where you need slightly stronger 5th bowlers. So Bosch and Lindy and Muthuswamy, those sorts of guys are more important.
Yeah.
So on that game, it was a 60-over game. The 2000, what did I say? It was 1979 World Cup.
70-something. Yeah.
Yeah, 60-over game, right? And Boycott bowls 6 overs for 38 runs. And Gooch bowls 4 overs for 27 runs. But they only make 286. And Larkins bowls 2 overs for 21 runs. So the 12 overs that they got out of their 5th bowler goes for more than a run a ball. Whereas the rest of the bowlers go at like 3s and 4s in that game. Yeah. And so I wonder if we're getting to a period now, which this is what I'm really asking you, I suppose, is are we getting to a period now where it's harder and harder to cheat with the 5th bowler? Right? Or are we getting to a period where you can, maybe the opposite is true, and you can actually have 3 5th bowlers, and within that you can kind of mishmash, a bit like what Australia did when they had Stoinis and Marsh and Maxwell all together, where they're just like, we'll get through it. Like, what do you think is the better option now?
Uh, I'd rather have someone like a Bosch, someone like a Stoinis, give them a little bit more responsibility and define their role to them that this is your job. Your job is to smash sixes and bowl bowlers 10 overs. You know, it's okay if you don't get wickets, but just keep it tight, right? Or it's okay if you give away runs, but just try and get us wickets. You know, whatever works for them or makes them feel good about their game, right? Because there is a role for them to play. So I think this is important in international cricket, and I think that you want to have like someone who can bat as almost as well as they can bowl, or vice versa. Um, because again, down at the death, this person's not going to be bowling death anyway, right? Unless he's a death ball bowler specialist. But he will certainly bat at the death. So if he's batting at the death, you want to give yourself the best chances to hit those big sixes and win a couple of matches for your team at that number. So given that fact, I think you'll need someone who can definitely bat well, hit some big shots.
At number 7.
Yeah, at number 7. And try and
What about at
develop
number
that
8?
At number 8, again, you want your bowlers to be able to do something, right? At number 8, you want a guy who can bat just a bit at least.
Or hit sixes.
Yeah, or hit sixes. One of the two.
Okay.
You want someone like a Mohammad Shami, rather than having someone like, for argument's sake, a Siraj.
Or you don't want to, like someone like Bhuvi in a T20 team doesn't help as much, right?
No.
Because
Bhuvi,
even though they can
they're all
bat,
considered out and out bowlers in T20 cricket.
yeah. Just because it's not that they can't bat. Benny Howe was a big one for this in T20 cricket, whereas everyone's like, we can bat. And it's like, yeah, but where do you bat him in a T20 side? Like, he's not actually got, like, I know he's changed his game a little bit recently, but traditionally he didn't really have the game for that kind of thing, right? So
Yeah.
I just think it's fascinating because when you see a team change up their style and go for a new method, I think it's a really interesting way of looking at it. But you know, with South Africa, I've got their T20 World Cup coming up, and be fun to see what kind of a lineup they go with. Because I really like the idea of them just going, we're going to pick 5 bowlers, and we hope our top 6 will make enough runs. Like it's a fascinating way of going about it, right? Because you have to go through Maharaj or Shamsi or Janssen or Rabada or whoever their specialist bowlers are. There's no Glenn Maxwell overs, right? There's no Kedar Yadav overs. In that.
But you want a 6th bowler as well. You want someone, because all 5 bowlers are not going to have a good day. That's a rare occurrence in T20I cricket. Yeah. One guy is going to have an off day. So to bowl his couple of overs, the one that he can't bowl or should not be bowling, you want someone to take that workload. And so even in those say even if you have six batters, you want someone who can bowl just a bit, just in case one of them gets injured or can't bowl, or is bowling badly, having a bad day, which can obviously happen, So
that's the Aiden Markram, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you don't want that
Suresh
person.
Raina, Aiden Markram,
yes.
Yusuf
You don't want
Pathan,
that person to be
guys.
like a massive frontline bowler, but you want the fact that you can throw the ball to them without them being worried about bowling in that.
Moeen Ali, one of those.
Moeen Ali's probably a little bit better than that, isn't he?
Of course he's better, but I'm talking about T20 cricket. I'm not taking
No, you're
away.
probably right. Actually, I always thought with him that he would have been the ideal 6th bowler, but
He's
the problem
ideal
with
6th bowler.
some of the teams that England had, him and Stokes are actually both probably 6th bowlers in white ball cricket, because neither of them are going to get through their overs. And then when you've got 2 of them together, you're kind of hoping one of them is going to have a good day. And as you said, that's hard if you're a frontline bowler, let alone if you're anyone else.
Yeah, I think they did Moeen Ali bad in England cricket. I think England cricket did him bad. I think he was. I reckon he was. They moved him around a lot.
I think the issue was they didn't move him around
batter.
enough. Maybe if they'd moved him into every single position, Robbie, then eventually he would have found one that worked. Because I think there's about 3 or 4 spots in cricket he didn't try. He never wicket kept.
Horrible to him, man. And that fellow was an out-and-out batter who could bowl fairly well. And they moved him up and down. Even when he scored runs, when he's scoring runs at the top of the order, they threw him down at number 6 after just a tournament or 2. And you're watching this and you're wondering, what the heck's going on? You have a guy who's scoring runs.
England's very interesting, actually. I don't know if you saw the piece I did on Ollie Pope recently, but Ollie Pope's been treated really weirdly by England, right? Like he makes his debut batting at number 4 for England when he's never batted at number 4 in a first-class game, right? Like, and they make him vice captain, then they make him wicketkeeper randomly at one point, and you're like, well, Ollie Pope's a struggling Test cricket. Stop giving him all these complicated things to and then Bairstow. I think Bairstow is still the most interesting one of all time.
Bairstow, my God, Bairstow.
It's like they wanted to break him as a human being, right?
Yeah. They've put him through the ringer, bro. Another one that comes to mind is Sam Billings, who I thought was immensely talented, but underutilized, moved around too much, abused almost. These are guys who could have thrived. And it's not like England have a large volume of good cricketers coming through the ranks, right?
No.
Like they're good, but who will be successful at the international level, who's got the mindset, who's got the mentality to succeed at the international level, that takes a different kind of thinking, right? And you see these guys and you're like, how do these guys not have that length of a career?
Yeah, Bairstow's fascinating. Do you want one of the funnest stories of Bairstow ever? Is he made 100 in Gaul. He was in Gaul, and he celebrated it like it was the most important thing in the world to him. And then afterwards, he's like, "I hope I proved my doubters wrong." And we were in radio at the time. And we're all looking around going, "Who's doubting Bairstow?" Like, it's a really weird thing, right? And it turns out that I think Mike Atherton had written something where England was in the middle of all their resting and rotating players. And
they went through that phase, right?
Yeah, and Atherton, because they brought in Broad and Bairstow for that game, and Atherton said, "Oh, now we've got the B team coming in." But he didn't mean B team as in B team. He meant as in Broad and Bairstow were coming in together. And Bairstow read that as we're the B team. And it's like, if that's how thin-skinned he is as a person. Like, and now imagine that England, like he's in the middle of like a good form run, and England's like, okay, so we're going to bring in Joss Butler as a specialist number 7 in Test cricket. What? Like, it's like they were actually just stabbing him in the chest repeatedly, waiting for him to fall apart.
Yeah, it's weird.
I'm going to tell you a fun/weird story that happened this week. So, English Pakistani agent, who I think was born in Pakistan but lives in the UK, a guy called Mo Ahmed, who he has got me work before. He's never been my agent, but he's got me work before. He quite often rings me up and is like, "Do you want to go and do the Premier League Eagle Cup in America?" And I was like, "No, I do not want to do that. That sounds horrendous, and I don't understand why you would want me to do this." Really nice guy, Mo, but his big thing, and I think you'll know what I'm talking about here. His big thing is being very good at having his ear to the ground. And anytime there's a league around where they're looking for players because they haven't got organised in time, he's very good at like contacting other agents and going, "I can get your player in this league," and everything else. So it's kind of a big way that he's made money. But he was also the agent for Syed Ajmal and Misbah al-Haq. So this is, and at one stage he had like 60 or 70% of the Pakistani squad. Not the major players, the more down the list players, but still. So he's been suspended for 5 years for a corrupt approach to a county coach, right? And when I read this, I was like, "Oh, Mo, what are you doing? Like, you didn't need to do this. You're building a career." But it gets weirder because he's been done under the match fixing codes, right? The anti-corruption codes. But he actually hasn't done match fixing. What he did, Robbie, you'll like this, in a world where agents become more and more important. What he did was he contacted a coach and he said, "For this league that you're going to coach in, if you get all my players, I will split my commission with you for you bringing all these players in." So he wasn't fixing. He wasn't saying we're bringing them in for anything else. He's literally trying to make more money by getting these players in. But he's been done in the anti-corruption side of things. But this is not anti-corruption. And the ruling, I'm just trying to read it off my blackboard because I've got a video coming out on this. They've said that it's because of improper conduct relating to a match, right? But I'm like, do we want to open that can of worms? Because there are lots of things that could be sketchy.
There could be something that's missing in translation. When you say team, did he mean 11 or in the franchise team? Like
for the franchise squad. Yeah, not for the 11.
Are you sure
this wasn't
that?
for any 11s. Yeah.
Then either it is the B team thing where the coach misunderstood or what he said.
No. So the coach understood it, but why the coach was apprehensive is, imagine you were coaching, I don't know, the ILT20, right? And an agent came to you and said, I've got these 5 players I think you should pick. And you'd be like, great, show me the players. And he's like, but if you pick them, I will give you 50% of my fee for each player. So there is a form of corruption there, right? And I should say that Mo says he's not guilty, but the ECB have found him guilty on this. So there is a form of corruption there, but that's not match fixing. And it's not actually directly related to match fixing in any way. It's a different kind of corruption, and I'm more than happy with that. But it's a really weird one of like,
Is it even corruption? Because he's off, like he wants
yeah,
to
you can't pay a coach to pick your players in a squad.
Yeah, fair.
I think that's fair, isn't it? I don't think
it's
related to match fixing in any way, but I do think it's a form of corruption if you are doing that. Now, the way that he should have done this, Robbie, and the way that most agents do this, is they say to the coach, if you pick several of my players in this tournament, I'll get you another coaching gig at another tournament, right? And that wouldn't be seen
right
as
and this is not right?
It's not, but that's the one that I think if he did that, he would have got away with it, right?
Yeah.
My point is, I think we're getting to a period now where agents are getting more and more powerful in a lot of the, and they already have been for a while in these franchise leagues. Partly because agents, and you know this because you've been on the circuit a little bit now. You know some of the veterans things. You've been to some of the other tournaments. You've been the SA20.
Some of these agents, they act like, oh God, it's like it's funny how they behave. They have bigger egos than the players, man.
Because they're the only ones paying attention to all these franchise things. So they know when there are opportunities, right? And so they end up, there are whole teams where I can look at the entire list and be like, oh my God, that's all from one agency. The coach, the assistant coach, right? Everyone on down and all the players come from one agency, which means that the owner just has a relationship with the agent, and it's just easier for him to go through that. You're right.
Wow.
And that's what I'm trying to say is I wonder if this is the ECB or even the ICC through the ECB going, we have to start cracking down on agents because they're getting out of control.
Yeah. And there has to be a set of regulations that need to be followed. And if that's breached, then they get taken to task. It's a simple way to do it. It's again, the thing is, it shouldn't be reactive. There's a lack of proactiveness that exists within our sport that is telling, especially with the amount of tournaments that are there and how much gets messed around with with our sport, right? I'd say the cricket side, the sports side of cricket is the best thing about it. The business side of it is easily by far the worst things about our sport right now.
And the other issue with this is, right, of how do you regulate? The reason that this has happened is because he went to a coach who's also a county coach. So it goes to a major board. How many other people wouldn't even go back to their board on this, right? On this sort of thing. Because, as I said, it's not a match-fixing thing. I've been a general manager of a T20 team, and I've had conversations with agents that in many ways run similar to these kinds of things, without them ever saying they were going to give me money back. As I said, I've never had that. But the other side of it is definitely like, you know, if you can help us out here, we can help you out with this and whatever. And it's a really interesting one for the future because I think you're right. When you say the business side of cricket isn't ready, it is not ready for the fact that agents, if franchise cricket becomes the most important form of the game in the next 5 years, which it basically already is, but let's say it completely takes over in the next 5 years.
When the elites in our sport acknowledge it, because it already is.
Yeah. At that point, the owners of those teams are the most important people. The agents probably do come in right at the top. Whereas at the moment, because of the way that international cricket exists, an agent is you can have a situation where like Neil Fairbrother is like the England agent to like 5 or 6 of the players in a team. He has a outsized say in what happens in English cricket because of that. But at the end of the day, I don't think he has a dominating voice. If you have the 5 of the 6 best T20 franchise players, I think you have a way bigger voice in the future, right? And you can dictate what leagues they go to and what owners they get involved with and everything else, right?
It's murky business, man. That's why for me, when you said what you said, I didn't even flinch, right? Because you're like, this. I've had my own experiences with this kind of stuff, and some of the stuff that you hear is just shady. It's just like, why does it exist in in our sport? Why can't this be more streamlined? Like for example, now every tournament we go to, like I was there, the WCL, we had an anti-corruption meeting, and in that meeting, much like every other meeting, we've been told that even if we don't report an approach, or you know of someone who's been approached and you don't report that, that is considered a crime, and that can deem you being guilty, right? So this stuff is so I think is so crystal clear when it comes to the players, and they got there over being reactionary with the whole thing. Now, if I knew, for example, that you were approached in the past, and I didn't inform this information because also because you haven't informed them, I wasn't going to be deemed guilty at that point in time. But now, for any reason, God forbid, I know that you've been approached and you haven't told the anti-corruption unit right away, I have to report it, right? If I don't report it, then, and that's why now when players are having conversations, it's like you're always like listening, you're always being, again, extra careful when the topics sometimes revolve around this. You're like super careful as to what you're listening to even. And it's so crystal clear for the players. It has to be the same with agents, with coaches and all of them, right?
So what you just said, there's a couple of really interesting things about what you just said. One is, one of the reasons that they are so tight on whether you have heard about an approach or whether you have been approached is that's actually how they get most of these people, right? Because they don't actually find people. They don't actually have the investigative powers to be able to prove that anyone's fixed, but they do have the ability for that. But the other thing that you talked about is really interesting. You said, I've been to an anti-corruption meeting, right? You haven't been to an anti-corruption meeting. You've been to a anti-match fixing meeting. There is corruption on almost every single level of cricket, right? All the way up. And we don't look at 98% of it, and we only worry about the match fixing side of it, right? And it reminds me of the old days of, when we have WADA and, drugs in sport, right? It's like, great, WADA's going to catch a couple of people who've taken the wrong pill and a couple of people who are cheating and everything. The actual major part of drugs in sport these days is organizations or countries actually having this systemic issues, which is not about drugs in sport. It's about organized crime and corruption rings, right? Well, how's WADA set up to be able to take that down? So what all sports around the world need to do is actually be involved in proper anti-corruption measures. And instead, what we end up with, and you know this because you've played in all these, you go to a league and there's a bunch of former coppers, right, sitting in hotel lobbies waiting to see if anyone comes into the hotel lobby with the face of someone who's on one of their sheets, right? The levels of corruption in cricket are so much higher than that, right? Right? And they know, also all the corruptors know that. You would have to be an idiot to be caught doing any of that sort of stuff in the future. Anyway, should we do some super chats?
Yes, super chats. We didn't have anything to talk about. We've gone on for 80 minutes.
Yeah. What's your point? Now imagine if we had Manas here.
Yeah. Parth, with an India question again. Did Siraj deciding to bowl an outswinger out of nowhere create one out of a 10 times win scenario for India in the fifth test, or would India have always had an equal chance of winning? Well, I think given that situation, you needed one bowler to turn up, didn't you? And I think that he was someone who held that energy through the fourth and the fifth day, despite everything stacking up against him and against the Indian team. So you have to think laterally, and I think he's not someone who generally thinks very linear anyway. He's always trying to outdo batters, and he's always trying to do something out of the ordinary. So certainly give them a chance, but I think. So
I think what he's saying
India would have had an equal chance of winning anyway, I think.
Well, I think what he's saying is if he bowls wobble balls at the stumps, is he going to get the same kind of impact on the English batters? And I think if you look at the players he was going up against, I think Jamie Smith, even though he's got a bit of a weakness around the top of leg stump sometimes, and India tried to exploit that, the best way to bowl to Jamie Smith is probably moving the ball away from him really wide. So it's maybe less to do with like a tactic to individual players, and it's more to do with the fact that they just thought with Jamie Smith, he was going to push at the ball anyway. So like I can understand that. So maybe it's less to do with Siraj and more to do with the batter that was in front of him.
You know, Mumbai used to do this thing when he played first class cricket against them. You know, and it's like their go-to strategy when there's an run-scoring batter batting in first class cricket. They would just set a 7-2 field, right? A 7-2 offside field, and just bowl way outside the off stump. Like you want to play shots, go there and play shots. You want to play this shot, go there. You go way outside the off stump and play shots. You know, and that would keep you quiet for a considerable period of time, or you had to do something out of the ordinary to score runs. You know, I've often thought about with baseball, why haven't any team actually tried that against England? You know,
It's been tried a couple of times, but I don't know if it's a bit like. I remember having this discussion with Herschel Gibbs on Twitter once about trying to bowl Yorkers at leg stump to Steve Smith. Teams had tried it, but they haven't fully committed to it. And once he flicks away 2 fours, they stop, right?
yeah.
And what Herschel was saying is, well, he's averaging 65. Like, why not wait? Why not wait until he's hit 4 fours or 5 fours,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You know, if you believe in the theory, and I think it's a bit the same with the 7-2. I've seen teams kind of toy with the 7-2 with England, where they're like, oh, okay, we should try this. And then Harry Brooks steps outside off stump and sweeps the ball over mid-wicket, and they kind of panic a little bit.
But how
I think
often
New
can you
Zealand
do
did it.
something like that?
No, and that's what I'm saying. You have to fully commit to it, so you have to fully believe in it. And I wonder if that's what we haven't seen at times from some of these sides.
Yeah. Because what he did that day, Siraj, was pretty much the same thing. He's like, they have 34 runs to win. Now they have 24 runs to win. They want to get this done in a hurry. I'm just going to delay this for as long as possible. Just bowl outside the off stump. See if he nicks one.
Yep.
And he nicked one.
Next super chat, please. Alex says, is it LBW really body before wicket? Yes. I mean, technically it is. But it's you got to remember, when that law was first written, the sweep shot kind of exists, but you don't get probably that many sweep shots at that point. And
bouncers didn't exist when the start of the game.
No. There was no, well, at that point, there were almost no bouncers at all. So the chances of you ducking, remember the Sachin one or something, of you ducking is very... So the vast majority of LBWs at the beginning of the game were probably the pad. And then as the sweep shot comes in a little bit more, it probably switches where you get hit on the chest and everywhere else.
True. Next one.
But you could call it body before wicket if you want. Sid says, Robbie, who was the final say? KKR for a trade or an auction? Who's the main decision maker? Is it Venki?
Now I think it'll be a combination of... I think there are a lot of moving pieces right now. So I think we'll have to wait and watch, because I think Venki and Shahrukh Bhai will, and Jay Mehta from the ownership group will kind of have a little bit of a say. Having said that, now that Bravo works for them as a mentor and coach at 3 or 4 different franchises around the world for them, he might also have a considerable say. That's my gut.
My gut.
Oh, Abhishek Nair will also have a little bit of say.
Yeah, my gut is that the owners shouldn't have any say. But
yeah, but even to decide who's going to come and make those decisions, right, for them.
No, I think the owners should make those decisions, obviously. But once you've hired the people, that's what you've hired them for, right? Like, Anyway, next question. Andy says, who should be India's third all-rounder to go with Hardik and Akshar in T20 internationals? Those two, and either Washington or Reddy, don't give you enough depth heading. So it's interesting, though, because you don't really...
Interesting that you think that, Andy. I think Hardik and Akshar... Again, who are the other finishers that India have? Like, there's that kid who played for Punjab Kings, and what's his name? Why am I forgetting his name? Who actually paddled Bumrah for 6 over fine leg with Shashank Singh.
Oh yeah, the real Shashank Singh.
Yeah, the real Shashank Singh. What's his name? Why is that escaping me right now?
But
it's like
my question to you would be, do you need, if you've already got Hardik and Akshar, how many all-rounders do you need?
Yeah, you just need 2. You don't need more than that. You need a proper finisher there who can bat with Hardik and Akshar, and that'll do the trick for you. Because you have the bowlers anyway.
I don't think you need Washington and Akshar, because I think both of them probably should be attacking spinners between over 7 and 12 with the bat. But I think Washington, if you need a spinner in the power play, is a better option. But I think Akshar's a better option all around at the moment.
Easy.
Also, Washington doesn't bowl anymore, does he?
In white ball cricket, very little. He used to be used as an opening bowler for Sunrisers. Did a fairly decent job with it, but not bowling very much nowadays in white ball cricket.
Yeah. Next question. Dinesh says, no questions. Just want to say how much I'm enjoying all the content. Well, thank you very much
Thank
for
you,
that.
Dinesh. It's very sweet of you.
Very, very generous on the super chat as well. Shikar says, got art of batting on paperback and audio. He's double fisting. By the way, I use the phrase double fisting all the time. And like, if you say it in England, you get such a weird look back. But it's a normal phrase in Australia if you're holding 2 drinks. Anyway, currently on my 3rd listen. Oh my God, this guy's hardcore. The chapters Testless, Rapid, and Motivation are some of the best things about cricket ever put into my brain across mediums. Really enjoying KimAppa as well.
How about that? Well done.
I haven't seen you. You haven't given me any notes yet.
Not giving you notes.
Have you read it?
Oh, yeah. Only for you to say, if I give you notes, only for you to say, yeah, I know this stuff. I've done 2 years of research on this shit.
I'm just saying, we can
know it all.
One day we could do a whole episode where
we should do a whole episode. That I'd love to do. It'd be so cool.
Have you finished the book?
Half the book. Cool.
When you finish, we'll do one.
Yeah, we should. And we should actually do it player by player. It'd be nice. Or 3 players at a time. It'd be really cool if you can do it.
Well, I was going to say, there's another way. The way I was thinking of doing it is we could just do a whole series where you can go through and you can pick holes in each player or bring up other things or, we'll talk about this off air.
Yeah, let's do that.
But thank you, Shikar. 3 listens. Man.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Naveen says, I enjoyed seeing Varun as a guest on this podcast. Any chances we see other guests like Ashwin here? Robbie has been on both YT channels. Yeah, I think if we're going to do guests, we probably prefer to do it with people in person.
Yeah, that'd be nicer in person. And I think guys, we're getting actually pretty close to that. And if we get a sponsor on board, then these things are much easier to do. Then that puts both Jared and I in the same place.
Yeah.
And us being together in the same place, we can do a lot. We can do a lot of stuff. So I think we're pretty close, and it's not far. We're hoping to nail a sponsor or 2 if we can get that. Or if you have someone in mind, just put it in the right direction.
I think going forward, we would always like KimAppa to be just the 2 of us chatting. But then if we can have the option of bringing in a 3rd person, and to be able to talk to them, or even a couple of players at times, we having someone like Varun on was very, very good, and I'm sure we'll be able to find more people. The problem with that league was that it was kind of in the middle of the test series, so I couldn't hang out with Robbie all that much. I think I only I wasn't even there for a full day, was I? Like in Birmingham,
just about 15 hours or so.
Yeah, because I was late that night as well because I had something else on.
Because of his internet wires, he was getting them rewired.
You're right. It was the internet. I forgot. It was the internet that day.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't get my card. Do you remember the mechanics?
Your card didn't come.
Which is another electrical issue. But yeah, so Varun was really the only one that was available. But also we thought originally that all the players would be in the same hotel. So we were just going to go around because I have lots of friends there as well, and we could just pick people up. But it was just you guys in the Indian side. And once we had Varun, we'd sort of done that. So in future, if we can get to things like that, we will certainly do it. But plenty of other options going ahead.
It also gives us the opportunity, if we get a sponsor on board, to even travel and do this with say during the IPL.
Yeah. Exactly.
It'd be so cool.
Women's World Cup, all those.
Women's World Cup, all that stuff.
Andy says, Ashwin and Urval Patel feels perfect for RR. They get a spinner and a younger explosive keeper bat. Yeah, but the reason I asked about Urval is because I thought Robbie might say he was a top order player. I don't think RR need another younger Indian top order player.
They don't. They need a finisher really badly. I would say, if they should seek for anyone, they should look at Ashutosh Sharma. That's the name. It was just escaping me.
Oh, from before, yeah. I see.
Ashutosh Sharma. He's a great finisher. Ashutosh Sharma. They should look for an Ashutosh Sharma. They should look for a Shah Rukh Khan, who's a finisher. They should look for players like that.
Okay, so when I talked about the next generation, are we ready to see proper 3-team and 4-team trades?
3-team, 4. Bro, yeah, we're ready for
Yeah,
it.
yeah. You have people don't. If you go back when I first started the YouTube channel, like I would do videos on trades, and people would be like, "Oh, he's just talking about this because he wants Indian fans." I was like, "No, I'm talking about this because I'm obsessed with trades. In every sport I love has trades, and I love them, except for cricket. And I just want trades. I want as many trades as possible. I want silly trades. I want great trades." I remember when when Luka Doncic was traded by Dallas Mavericks, and everyone was like, "Compare this to cricket." I had so much fun. I was just like writing out lists on my own and everything. Oh, here we go. Didn't we kind of see that with Green Hardik between RCB, Mumbai, and GT? Yeah, we want more of them. We want more
Yeah,
of those trades. That's
that'd
what
be
we're saying.
awesome.
I want like 3 or 4
By
of
the
those a
way,
year.
do you know that I was one of the first players to be traded in the IPL?
I think there's a question about that. I think there's a super chat on that. Here we go. Wasn't Zach and Robbie traded in '09 IPL? What's the story?
Yeah, I was. Zach, me, and Manish Pandey. So they RCB gave Zach to Mumbai Indians for Manish and me, and I didn't want to go. I did not want to go, because back then, see, in cricket, loyalty was a big thing, right? You belong to a team. You do, this concept
Yeah.
of professional cricket or franchise cricket, or you move from club to club, did not exist, right? And so for me, I felt like I had proper imposter syndrome 2009. Proper. My first year in RCB, I think that kind of tipped me into clinical depression, to be very honest, because I just felt like I was going against every cell in my being, to be very honest. And I refused to sign the papers, the transfer papers. And I was threatened by one of the leadership group in Mumbai. In like, if you don't sign these papers, we don't, like, you will not play. He's like, you will play in the playing 11 over my dead body, is what I was told. And then that's when
Wow.
I was like, you know what? You don't want me that much, I'll sign the papers. But the only game I played well against, the only game I played well in that IPL was against Mumbai Indians in that in that season in 2009. I won the game with Jacques Callis, 65 not out or something, and that's when I felt like, oh, I belong to RCB. And then and then the following year went really well. Then went at the auction again and all of that. But that was a story about being traded. I didn't want to go. I refused to sign the papers. Like literally till the last day of the trade, I did not sign the papers. So only when I heard this, I was like,
Do you have to sign the the papers then?
at that
Do
point,
you have
yeah,
to
you
agree?
don't have a choice.
Yeah,
You have
because
to,
I don't
yeah.
think you do now.
Yeah, you don't. You like back then, players didn't have a choice. If you're going to be traded, you're going to be traded.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Next question. Loving the chat. I had a question.
Where is that?
There
Oh,
is a
there
lot
it
of
is.
chat about players being paid behind the curtains in the IPL. Is it true even for the role players? Rinku Singh was on a contract of only 50 lakh, and he's
Oh,
getting
no.
what's the,
Yeah, no. As in, I can tell you, in Rinku's case, he wasn't getting paid off behind the curtains. But a lot of these things happen.
Are you saying people get paid behind the curtains? Robbie, I am shocked to hear this. Here's my question about it, and I know players do get paid behind the curtains, obviously, but how many players per team do you think? Is it just? I would have thought it's just 2 or 3. It's not like 5 or 6,
It's not
is it?
per team. It's basically maybe the quality of the player, and a franchise wants them really badly, and these franchises are also so big right now that they can get them contracts outside the IPL.
Yeah. I think
So
there's more
let's say contracts. I mean endorsements outside the IPL.
Yeah. No, I think
Yeah,
that's a better way of putting it.
that's how it's done. It's more endorsements and stuff like that.
Usually from the ownership groups directly with their companies. Anyway,
Do
next
the math.
question. Aditya says, what is the principle behind drift for spinners? Why does Washi get both in and out drift? Minder Singh says it's similar to reverse swing. I don't know about the reverse swing side of things, but essentially, if you're putting revolutions on the ball and you're coming around the ball, the revolutions are going, you're basically putting the Magnus effect onto the ball, and so it's swinging away. The reason that players, off spinners, and it's generally off spinners who do this, can get the ball to drift, what Ashwin and Gareth Batty call in to in, is when you come above the perpendicular and you're sort of coming above your head. and it sort of drifts in rather than drifting away. I don't know if that might be the one that Maninder Singh is talking about with reverse swing. I don't know the proper
even
mechanics.
with the shine, sometimes they can keep the shine and maintain the shine so much that when they give revs on the ball, and the shine is on the outside of the ball, and the ball can actually drift. So if a left arm spinner is bowling and the shine's on the outside, the ball can actually drift in the air into the batter. And so that's what I think Washi was doing. He had the shiny side outside, and he was bowling. Even if it's slightly round arm, it's fine. It actually angles the ball in and then kind of
comes
turns
in.
away.
Because if you look at Dom Bess, he never drifted the ball away. He drifted the ball in, and it's because he has that sort of over the top action.
Yeah, over the top. Yeah.
Next question. Jack says, say you're back in 2007 and you were the ICC boss or something, or someone with power to do something, and you had the knowledge of 2025. What would you have done to curb the potential cannibalism of franchises?
What do you mean by cannibalism of franchise?
I thought that's what your answer would be. I think if you're back in 2007, there is a few things it would do. I think that's a perfect opportunity to split up the three formats and make them all govern themselves and look after themselves. I also think that we needed an ODI league at that stage. And by the time we had an ODI league, it was completely dead and buried. And also, if you were running Test cricket, that was, again, a perfect situation to have a World Test Championship, to have 3 tiers. Everyone gets Test status and everything else. So there are things that you could have done. But it's a bit like climate change at a certain point. Like, they had plenty of opportunities to do things, and no one actually did them. And now we hope that sociopaths take us to Mars.
What a snide dig. Why?
Why not? Next question, please. Ashutosh says, Robbie, will you coach the Zimbabwe men's team? Have you been linked to the Zimbabwe men's team?
I was asked if I'd be interested to coach their batters. I was very interested.
What? How do I not know this?
Oh, no, it just happened over a conversation. So the head of their cricket academies or the cricket development program said, would you come and coach the batters? Because I was talking about batting and he really enjoyed it. And we were playing a tournament together, a Legends tournament together. And he's like, would you be open to it? I said, yeah, I'd love to do it.
But nothing's come of it. You just said you're available.
Yeah. I'd love to coach any team as far as batting is concerned. I love it, dude.
I've got the new Beckham under 11s are available.
The price is right. I'll be there, buddy. I don't care. I don't care who I have to work with. I'll do it.
Jack says, need to be unemployed to keep up with JK. Yes, you do. But this is me trying for me not to be unemployed. That's why I'm doing this. Next question. Agaji says, love all podcasts, love KimAppa, footmarks, etc. Thank you very much. We haven't yet got Robbie onto any of the Crick Picks episodes, which we definitely have to do.
You do so many things, so many pods, bro. Like for me, I'm like, I can't keep track of them.
Yeah.
How are you even married? I don't understand.
Well, I've got a really... No, I'm still married. To be fair, I'm only like 50 meters from my family.
Double fisting.
Yeah, double fisting. I'm always double fisting. Next question. Is that it? Have we done? Have we punched them all out? As I said, we have absolutely nothing to talk about this week. Only 1 hour and 28 minutes.
Yeah, I swear, dude. I was like, before the pod, we were like, how the fuck are we going to talk for like an hour and a half? It'll be a short show is what we thought.
Do you know, I had 2 more talking points we didn't even get to, but I'll save them for another time. Thank you to everyone. Like, subscribe, press the bell icons on YouTube if you're there. Leave a review if you're listening on an audio podcast or wherever you listen to all those sorts of things. Follow us both on Instagram and everything else. And we'll be back again next week for more KimAppa.